Yes, I'm with you. You just unmuted me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you so much, Durrani Saab, Salman Javed Saab, Dr. Faiz, and all other doctors. Thank you very much for organizing this and inviting Oscar. Javed Saab, it was a great presentation. I'm the product of, Pakistan refugee. And we will be forever thankful to Pakistan for giving us that opportunity to study and what we wanted to study. But in order for that presentation or this objective to succeed, I will just paint a picture for you, of the Afghan youth, because I study people in organizations. So particularly the Afghan youth. So I'm going to provide you a very truthful overview of what the Afghans think of, Pakistan and India, especially in this context. And I hope Dr. Faiz is hearing. If I'm wrong, correct me anywhere. I deeply respect scholars, and I think you spoke diligently to that. But anyway, I want to thank you very much for giving us the Oscar for social, cultural awareness and rehabilitation, the opportunity to participate in this important event. Oscar is honored to be a part of this venue and contribute to the much needed dialogue on strengthening people-to-people relations between our two beautiful countries. Given that this is a brainstorming session and a goal-setting event, we at Oscar feel that it is important to share with you what we think is the holistic view of the Afghan youth about the current state of the affairs. Our holistic view covers political, security, and economic components of the Pak-Afghan relations. I'm an academic, so I will conceptualize and articulate the view of the Afghan youth as follows. So first, where are we at? What's the status quo? That's what I will speak to. And second, where do we want to go? What's the goal? And third, how do we get there? That is, what can we do to achieve our goal, the goal for the Pak-Afghan Forum? So first, I will speak to the status quo. What is the status quo? To illustrate the status quo, let me give you our reflection of what do the youth of Afghanistan think about the nature of political security and economic relations with Pakistan. Beginning with day one of the historic event taking place in Doha, Qatar, on the opening day of the peace talk in Doha, I would say I would quote the Indian foreign minister. The Indian foreign minister said the following things. India has been the biggest development partner to Afghanistan. We built the parliament house in Afghanistan. We have built hospitals. We have built dams. We have built a university in Kandahar. We have undertaken capacity building initiatives. We have donated over 1 million tons of food products, and so on and so on. That's how he went on and on. This is the picture that is painted very vividly in the Afghan minds. Afghans have benefited tremendously from India's generous assistance in the past 2 decades. Now, what is the picture of Pakistan in the mind of the Afghan? From day one of the Doha peace talk, Durrani Saab, on the opening day of peace talk, the former defense minister of Pakistan, Khwaja Asif Saab, tweeted, "Taqate tumhare hai aur khuda hamare hai, Allahu Akbar." Now, people are free to interpret that message as they wish, but the Afghans, especially the Afghan youth, have a very, very clear interpretation. One of the Afghan youth leader that I will quote to you, Idris Stanakzeh, who has more than 22,000 followers on Twitter alone, responded with the following: Khuda is never with devils, terrorists and munafiqs, but Pakistan is for sure the brother to every devil, terrorist and munafiq. In summary, the difference between India and Pakistan is very stark to the Afghans, especially to the Afghan youth. It is one of construction versus destruction. In other words, the Afghan youth think that India is sending them engineers, teachers, and doctors, and Pakistan, on the other hand, is sending them terrorists, bombers, and killers. Now, this was a reflection on the political mindset. Now, let me share what do the Afghan youth think with regard to the security and economic affairs with Pakistan, and it's going to be somewhat linked to what the other speakers said. What's going on at the border right now? The Pakistani military continued to militarize the border by building new installations, allegedly deep into the Afghan soil. And these installations have zero effect on border security or across border security. If you look at the trend in data that is coming out, the military of Pakistan has consistently engaged in shelling Afghan villages in Kunar and Nangarhar provinces. When the Afghans protest, they shut down the borders. Shutting down the borders, of course, add to the suffering of many Afghans who have to pay higher prices for basic commodities, but it doesn't produce desirable results to the Pakistani military or neither to the Pakistani government, and it will never produce that expected results. The expectations of Pak government is, of course, to seek concessions from the Afghan side, which will never happen, given the circumstances and given the experience. The economic cost of closing the border is as high to the people of Pakistan as it is to the people of Afghanistan. Many Afghans visit Pakistan for medical treatment, shopping, sightseeing. Many Afghan businessmen import Pakistani goods to Afghanistan. Pakistan has even a significant trade advantage over Afghanistan. That Pakistan exports more to Afghanistan than it imports from Afghanistan. The Afghan spend their hard-earned money in the Pakistani markets and clinics. Closing the border does nothing but denying economic opportunities for people on both sides of the borders. And the Afghan youth think that they will survive, with or without having access to the Pakistani markets, to Pakistani clinics, or to Pakistani ports. And they have developed these rationales, which make sense. For instance, like North Korea and Iran, can tolerate biting sanctions of the world. Now, if Iran and North Korea can tolerate those kind of vicious sanctions, there is so much evidence that the Afghans, with its resilience, can resist Pakistani sanctions and probably much more. That's the status quo, ladies and gentlemen. This is the present state. Now, in the conceptual model, now where do we want to go? That's the second component of that we want to share with you about our understanding of the youth that we work with in Afghanistan. So the chief objective of this youth forum is to build people-to-people relations. We suggest let us use the word strengthening people-to-people relations, because we do have relations with the people of Pakistan. Durrani Sahab, we share, your last name, is widely shared, in Afghanistan. Javed Sahab, it's the same way, we have similar names, we have similar culture, we have the same religion. We're not strangers to each other. If you ask an average Afghan, especially who has lived in Pakistan, they have many, many friends across the border. This isn't anything new. Given that our chief objective for coming here is to strengthen relations, then what can we do to achieve that goal? That is the third component of our view that we want to share with you. We at OSCAR believe that the best way to strengthen relations, in other words, to achieve the goal or the objective of this forum, that is to win the hearts and minds of the Afghan, is to build trust. Javed Sahab, great presentation, but the audience, understanding the audience is key to any intervention, by minimum standard. And I think we have multiple professors with us, and they will attest to that. That is really important to understand who the people are that you're dealing with. So how do we build trust? Building trust begins with telling the truth. Telling the truth has to start with us like individuals. And our religion is teaching us about this, like truth, always. One way we can tell the truth is when we stand up to bigotry. when your former defense minister comes to Washington and tells the Americans and the rest of the world that the Pakistani military does not distinguish between good Taliban and bad Taliban, and when he goes back to Pakistan or when he's in Islamabad and he tweets Taqat-e tumhare hai or Khuda hamare hai, Allahu Akbar, on the event of the Afghan peace talk. Now, Javed Saab, Durrani Saab, Dr. Faiz Saab, if that's not bigotry, then what it is? Now, if you, the attention is oriented towards Afghanistan so much, and I think many of the speakers on the Pakistani said that, the Afghans need to do, but here'll be my hint, our suggestion, the Oscar suggestion, from our experience of working with these young people. Now, if you, the Pakistani youth, or this forum, if they can stand up against some of the bigotry in Pakistan, speak up, write, protest, the doors of the Afghans' heart will open, and they will open widely. They will welcome you, they will hug you, they will stand with you, and they will begin to hold their official accountables for similar wrongdoing, if any. They will do the same in their country. We know why India is helping us. They're really, really poor people in India, but they're denying them the opportunity, and they're coming and helping us. We understand why they're helping us. And we may not need their help, but you guys need to mobilize and stand up to some of the bigotry on that side in order to, open the Afghan hearts and minds for the Pakistanis, to build the trust. So it has to start somewhere, but it has to start with telling the truth, which is to build the trust. And Allah says in the Quran that we are not to lie, even if this might win us an advantage. What greater statement can be than that? Finally, the picture I painted today is probably not pretty. It's bleak. But this is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. This affects all of us, each and every one of us. But, despite this dark picture that I painted, but I see the light too. I greatly believe that, in the potential of young people, and strongly believe in them that as a force for change. And this dialogue is tough. It is rough. The task is really formidable. Nevertheless, it isn't impossible. And we can speak a little bit more later, but the agenda, for this forum has to be shared with the youth of Afghanistan. If there could be a shared agenda, that will make much more sense than what it is right now. So Javed Saab, I hope, and Durrani Saab, I hope you guys are not disappointed, but this is the brutal facts that I shared with you. And these are the young people that we work with in Afghanistan. And this is what they think. Thank you.